Welcome, good morning, welcome to Book Bar. This is the Conversation with Authors series, and I've seen a lot of new faces, so let me just set a little context to why Dhruv and Vineet are here. This is the last episode of Conversation with Authors, something which we started earlier in Jan, has reached its 13th episode, and it's a great honor to have both of you in such a setting where we are going to have a performance as well. Usually it's just a one and a half hour podcast, but I think how we're going to structure this is a conversation, and then both of them are going to play host, and they're going to perform, and then we're going to circle back to the conversation. I don't think both of them need any introduction to this audience.
I hope not to them.
But I think 35 years of friendship between both of you.
On and off, yeah.
Vineet and Dhruv. Firstly, a big round of applause to Vineet for doing 20 years. I'm coming to 20 years of music, taking the legacy forward and still continuing to do so. I think this deserves applause all across, and especially in this city, and your story needs to be heard even more. And Dhruv, for writing such a beautiful book, and for slowly over the time capturing all the details and putting and literally pouring your heart, and this book can become an inspiration for people to remember memories, but also a starting point for someone in Pune today who wants to start his musical journey, and certain things which you can do, which you can't do, and all the things between 35 years. I think it's a great time to be here.
Yes.
So welcome both of you. I'll start with you, Vineet. From the first McDonald's gig where you got a free burger, right? And you played Love Me Do.
Sorry, that was Dhruv, because it's not his fault. We just gave him a copy 2 days ago, but that was
okay.
That is intentional. Our stories are told in one voice, but
maybe Dhruv.
Yes. Yeah.
So first gig from McDonald's to 123 gigs. Quite a dream, and then this book.
Yes. Yeah.
Could you just walk us through what is there in this book?
Okay, so the book opens with a quick discussion of the first show I ever played at McDonald's. That's how the book starts, and that was the first time I played live in front of people, which is not something on my own with a guitar. I didn't even know Vineet was learning how to play the guitar at that time. I was just doing my own thing, and that's how the book starts. And I realized at the end of that show, I mean, it's crazy, right? I just started to play the guitar. McDonald's called me and said on New Year's Eve, can you come and play a show? And to think that you can sit at McDonald's or any restaurant and play for 4 hours was unthinkable at the time for me. But it told me that it is possible, and you can just go and approach people like Vineet approached Avnish and made this happen. There are lots of folks who are willing to have live musicians play at their venues. That's how it began. The 123 gigs that we put in the title are the ones that Vineet and I played together. Vineet has gone on to play 1,000 odd shows maybe all over the world, including Europe, and many other places. But the 123 shows are the ones he and I played together over a period of 1.5 years, and all of that is really what the book is about. But the context to that is how we both, when we were in school, we were good friends, but not like the best of friends, but then we discovered just by accident that we both love the Beatles. We both are learning how to play the guitar, and we love to sing and play the guitar at the same time to people. And the journey is how we were in school, but then we went apart, then we came back because we realized we could both do something together, and then how we played that out, how we went apart again, and now how we're back together. So that's a summary of what? That's a summary of the book. So we say 35 years, but but there is a lot of, meandering in and out.
Right. Before I move to Vineet, did you have a musical background? What took you to music and playing the guitar?
No, I guess, in some way everything is background, right? Listening to. So my mom, who is right over there, I credit her for, introducing me to a lot of music. ABBA, the Beatles, Bonnie M, Neil Diamond, they were all playing in our house growing up. So that was the first background. And then, as I say in the book, he sort of started singing in school, in Abhinav Vidyalaya, in about 8th standard. Our teachers allow us to start performing in school. Up to that point, I've never thought about singing, but he starts to sing. And I'm like, why is he allowed to sing? I'm a very good student. I work very hard, and I don't get
Read the flip side. He's a good student.
Yeah. So that is true. We are opposites of each other in many ways, which is why it works, I think.
Right.
But yeah, that was my. He starts singing in school. I say, okay, let me also try to sing, and that is when I start to sing for the first time. But no musical training as such. My parents would ask a few. We're going to read a little chapter a little later.
I'm going
we'll talk
to
about
reduce my conversation, and you all will read those chapters. Because I have some questions. But
Vineet had a lot more musical background.
Yes, because
growing up.
The name Alurkar there is weight in that name in the city.
Yes.
From a music point of view.
Don't say it loud, huh?
But so many people in the city are connected, from my parents to their friends to a lot of people who started listening to music or being introduced to music in Pune, which was such a monumental thing, which set the culture, so to speak, right? Yeah. I know somewhere in the book, when you were doing your engineering, you decided that, okay, you know what, I don't want to do that, and I want to do this.
Right.
And from that point to where you are today, how does it feel?
Feels great. Just a correction, he is the engineer, but I was not even qualified to go for engineering. I basically ruled that out with my academics, which was a blessing.
So you are a lawyer, sorry. You were studying.
I have a law degree.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer, but yeah, I do have. I have a degree. It's preserved now at home. It is in my mom's attic, actually. What was the question?
I think the question was that from that time when you decided that, okay, you don't want to maybe do academics, right? Because you had legacy, right? You were introduced quite at a young age to actually decided, okay, man, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So there was no single point that I can think of. It happened gradually over a period of 2 years. I went to law because I couldn't get admission anywhere else, and even in law, I shouldn't have gotten, because there was a 50% minimum requirement at 12th standard. I got 48. But so ILS rejected me, and Symbiosis, this was the new 5-year course after 12th. So I went to Symbiosis, and I don't know, the principal kind of took pity and took me in, because it was a new course, there were not many takers. And the first 2 years of law were awful, in the sense it's a lot of history of, I thought it's like lawyering and nothing of that, so very boring history of law, Manusmriti and all that. So I didn't go to college at all for 2 years, and I had a lot of free time, which is when I picked up the guitar and I started playing, and someone taught me the chords, and that's when I met Dhruv, and the reunion story is there. And then on and off I was playing, and it was very evident to me that law is not a career for me. Like at the end of 3rd year, I wanted to quit. There was that pivotal moment in the 4th year when I want to quit, and there is an intervention. My mother, grandmother and my aunt sit together like this and they are like, no, you must get the degree, and all that and whatever. So I finally managed to get the degree, but it was very evident by the end of the 3rd and 4th year, because we won lot of competitions. Bhupal, who's here, he's the 3rd wheel that is there, and he's a little unwell today, but he's there in the book, of course.
Right.
And with him, I got him this fake ID in Symbiosis, which is a very famous story. And we won all the competitions, Youth in Sync, Mood Indigo. And he had no part in it, I have to say, it was all me. So it was, along the way, it was very evident that I cannot do law, and I had to keep trying this music thing, and then it just worked out.
Right. And this title, Rock and Roll Dreams, Indian Reality, what does that mean? I know it's like it has to be unfolded in stages, but if you could just give us an idea of why this title. It could have been so many other things.
It could have been. It's not the most poetic title, but the reason we stuck to it is because we hope that it tells you what the book is about. We had other titles. Life is the stuff of dreams. But they were all more poetic, but didn't really tell you what the book was about. Ultimately, I think I think most of us here probably wanted to be a musician or have some connection to music or some other artistic endeavor that we did not go to school for, and it emerges somehow. It just emerges outside of the structure of school and tuition classes, and I think that's what, for us, it was rock and roll. But you could take that first line out and put anything,
right.
Beading or jewelry or whatever artistic pursuit you may have. And I think so that is the first point, and the book is ultimately about that dream that we had, but it could work for anyone, meeting a reality of a sort. And for us, the context was India in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's when we have set the stage, which in Pune at that time Vineet and I talk about this a lot. We wonder if we could have done 123 gigs in 18 months now, the way we did it back then.
Right.
Part of it was we were naive, we were in our 20s, early 20s, we were super enthusiastic. And at that time, you're not thinking about money, you're not thinking about, will this be a career? So that's what the title is meant to be. It's about that clash between having a certain dream, but meeting a reality where in the 90s and early 2000s in particular, you were expected to pick one of 3 or 4 or 5 careers.
Right.
And if you did well in college, you were expected to go abroad.
Right.
That was the dream, the vision
Right.
that we were sold or built up to believe. And so that is in the book, I go back to America. I wonder, should I stay in the US or come back to India? And so that is why we picked that title, because I think that is the underlying theme throughout.
This reality is basis your lens as how India was that time.
That's right.
Because I think the landscape has changed now.
Yeah.
I think that time there was no social media, and as you rightly said, either be an engineer or a doctor. Anything else would be looked upon as you may not earn that much money, and the opportunity was not there.
Right.
But I think today, for any upcoming musician, it's crazy, the scene. And I would love to talk about this a little more, maybe after you finish your gigs, to understand how today's musician can actually channelize and make a career. And this whole thing of electronic versus the old school, your organic instrument, rock and roll, or any instrument-based music, or the fusion between both is a good meeting point, and how you need to adapt to the modern times, all of that. But I think I'll hand it over to you guys. Everyone's waiting to listen to what you guys are going to play. So y'all are going to do some reading and then set some context to the song which you're.
We'll start with a couple of songs and then we'll go into the reading, and it's like a couple of.
Okay, over to you guys.